And in breaking news, an over-enthusiastic South African football fan has perforated her larynx from blowing too hard on a trumpet-like instrument known as a vuvuzela. But first, the incredible scenes of an Australian trumpet player playing his trumpet through his ear. To health, and a common but relatively unknown condition known as Focal Dystonia is destroying musicians across the globe.
Hi, I'm Julie, and I'm on an extraordinary journey with Greg Spence to retrain and recover from musicians' dystonia.
And to sport, left-handed golf. Stay tuned to find out more. We're not addressing the right issues. We're using a physical approach to correct a psychological problem. Our belief system. We're not addressing the right issues. We're using a physical approach to correct a psychological problem. Our belief system. Today's session is about conquering doubt, leading into Saturday's part 2, where the methodology is done. We can approach that with confidence. We're going to bust any instinctive beliefs that are wrong, fed to us by the reptilian brain. We're going to use the power of the limbic brain, and especially the amygdala, to make sure our emotions are in check. No impatience, no anxiety, no stress or frustration. And then we're going to use the mighty power of the neocortex and the frontal lobes to reprogram and use visualization, imagination and imagery to create powerful new long-term pathways.
Choke, crack, flub, bottle it, blow it, the Yips. The Yips was given its name by 3-time major winner Tommy Armour. While it's an affliction that crosses a wide variety of sports, it's most commonly associated with golf, where it manifests itself as involuntary spasms in the wrist during chipping and putting. It can affect everyone, from the amateur to the seasoned pro, and it's often very difficult to determine an underlying cause. The condition can be both debilitating and permanent, with no known cure, meaning the athlete has to adjust their technique or, in the most extreme cases, quit the sport entirely.
Focal dystonia, death of the musician you once were. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. In golf and sport they call it the Yips. Involuntary activation of musculature. Does that sound familiar?
Dystonia distorted sensory information about my face, making it more difficult to find my correct horn angle and know where my head position should be. Oh gosh.
And this is where it turns out that my teaching and the cure for focal dystonia sort of come together.
Started in my left trapezius, which is a large muscle that's part of the neck, shoulder, mid, and upper back. My symptoms migrated from the shoulder area to the base of the neck, where I had a lot of spasms, extreme tightness, and shaking.
Cool. So, lie down again. Replicate the feeling of lying down.
I won't be able.
No, that's okay. You're still lying down though. See, something in your brain saying I'm sitting up and I'm about to play, but you're still lying down.
Yeah. See, it's
Cool.
just
So no. There's no reaction from it.
okay.
We're data collecting, and you observe the feeling of what's going on. Don't reject it. Observe the feeling of what's going on and embrace it. Become aware of it and own it. Just feel the body's response to the stimulus.
And I've gone and researched with thanks to Julie and now a lot of other dystonia sufferers. I've done a two years research project into the condition. The wonderful Phil Smith looked at my material. He actually got up at a very high caliber university in America and said, have you heard of Greg Spence and the Mystery to Mastery program? You need to do this, and this. And after he'd spoken about his trials with focal dystonia and coming through it. So I was very honoured for him to mention my name.
I'm learning a lot through the retraining process about myself, the brain, and Greg's learning techniques. Initially, when symptoms show up, it's easy to believe that these are a result of faulty technique or maybe not enough practice. Musicians' focal dystonia is more prevalent than you might think among all levels of players and can develop for many reasons. Dystonia is a condition in the brain that disrupts healthy communication between the brain and muscles, causing involuntary muscle contractions. The condition is actually more complex than that, but that's a simple version. With musicians' dystonia, playing the instrument or even just thinking about playing can trigger chaos. Any body part you use to play your instrument, such as hands, fingers, chops, or shoulders, can be affected. I want to mention something that's really powerful, and that's the belief system. I suspect that it plays a major role in developing the condition in some cases, and it's key to retraining and recovery. At one point, I told Greg that I was willing to do whatever it takes to recover from the condition. However, when it came to playing my trumpet at a physical therapy appointment, I couldn't do it.
No one's here. You could actually do it. So. No one's here. This is like the best time.
Right. And mouthpiece. We're going to play a low C through your mask if possible.
No, Greg, I cannot do that.
No, it's too thick.
No. From a sanitation standpoint, I cannot do that.
You got your mask on.
I know, but there's the whole aerosol issue with these things.
I'm not buying that. Let them sue me. There's no way. You've got your mask on. We are not. We've got. There is air in the instrument, and you're making it vibrate. You're not blowing any blooming insanitary, toxic COVID.
I'm tending to agree with you. Julie's gonna be mad at me, but I think she's going to be fine with this because the mask is going to contain the moisture.
I'm not going to do that.
No.
She's
not comfortable doing that.
No.
Julie, you're worried about the reaction.
Consciously, I knew that my therapist would be helpful, but my subconscious mind perceived it as a threat. I literally shut down. The belief system can feed confidence and I can do this messages, or I don't know what will happen messages, fear and dread.
Now, Julie mentioned the dread, and I've got a concept called the shadow, and that's just the premonition of a reaction building up, the chemicals building, even though you can't feel it physically. Somewhere deep in the system, you know that there is a problem.
We've been working together about 2 years and have many hours of videos documenting our experimentation and remarkable progress. We spent the first 6 months mostly studying the situation observing reactions, triggers, physical tension, emotions, and playing psychology. For the past 14 months, we've followed a comprehensive strategy to rewire my brain and build a new trumpet playing superhighway. This process requires deep, detailed observation to understand exactly what is happening and identify triggers. This means knowing what is going on in your body. Every flinch, every contraction and pullback, every hesitation, and what is going on in your mind. You need to understand where the faulty wires are. Letting go of expectations is another biggie. Greg kept reminding me in many different ways that we can't care about results. When I finally gave in and let go of expectations, we started moving faster. At my worst, I couldn't play at all. I've gone from extreme tension and shaking from just picking up my instrument to being able to play notes and connect simple phrases with a much more relaxed body. I started filling out the practice chart behind me in December to mark times I've jumped on the new highway and played dystonia free. It is amazing to see the brain eventually start to switch over to the new highway that you worked so hard to pave with focused, patient, emotion-free repetition.
We're really close. We're really close.
Like we inch a little closer.
Yeah, it is that. It is that. And you are getting so close to the penny drop moment. It is going to happen. You will find consciously something that you can let go of and choose to let go of it, and you will let go of it. There you go. Nice.
Imagine you had a traumatic experience, tragic experience, and I don't want that for anyone, but a stressful experience. It could be any level of someone going boo to something very, very serious. You can recall the feeling of that. You can recall it in your mind, and it stores very quickly because of the brain's fight and flight survival instinct. So you think about the implication of this. I can suggest to you by words, do you remember the feeling when something happened? It can generate a lot of anxiety. It lives in reality. A picture in the mind is having a chemical reaction that you can see and feel. It's matter. Let's convert that. Let's have a picture in our mind that we can recall. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? What does it look like? A positive experience. And then we refer to that before we even hit the practice room. It's called busting the amygdala. The amygdala is what hangs on to the trauma. When we think of trauma, the anxiety, you can feel adrenaline, cortisol running through the body. We don't want that, but we can create a new reality in our mind.
I've got a concept called the portrait, and the portrait can be a positive playing experience from years ago or a successful attempt at an exercise. Put a mental picture of that in our mind, the portrait. We put it on our mind's feature wall. That's a point in time that really happened. It's a point in time that really happened.